Hello, Infiniteers! Today we are going to build the next part of the Axiom, which is the gallery of shops and restaurants that leads to the resort area of the ship. And that's the area that's going to be out through this archway that we built last time. Here are some screenshots of this area from the movie. It begins at this roundabout, where passengers can board a tram that will take them to the resort area. In the middle of the circle is a tall, holographic billboard, and around the circle are a bunch of other billboards. This whole area is surrounded by tall, futuristic-looking buildings. There are passageways that lead away from the circle to the left and right, and of course toward the bottom of the screenshot, which is where Wall E enters from. Beyond this area, you can see that the floor ends and there's a drop-off. The tram line is suspended above this sunken area, and you can get a better look at that sunken area from this shot. In the upper right corner, you can see those two angled buildings that mark the entrance to the resort area of the Axiom. Below them is the sunken area, and you can see the tram line is suspended about 10 or 11 stories above the floor below. Billboards line the walls of the sunken area, as well as the buildings above. Along the rim of the sunken area are buildings and shops, and this is a shot of one of them. It is a rooftop cafe, and it almost looks like it could be a balcony that is suspended above the sunken area. Of course, it's surrounded by more billboards. So this is the area that I want to build today, and because of our limited toy box memory, I'm going to scale this area down so that it doesn't take up as much room. And I think it'll still capture the essence of the area from the movie, but it won't be a mile long. If we built it to scale, we'd have to build it out like way out here, and we just don't have the memory to do that. So we're going to have to be selective about what we build. But to build this area, let me get out of Spark mode here. To build this area, you are going to need 2 power discs. First, you're going to need the Tomorrowland Futurescape Terrain Customization Power Disc, which we have already used for the resort area of the toy box. You're also going to need the On the Grid Terrain Customization Power Disc for the floor texture in the sunken area, as well as the Axiom corridors that we will be building in a future episode. If you do not have the On the Grid disc, then you could use the Nomancian Island Headquarters terrain theme instead. So let me place both of these discs down on my base. I don't want to switch that whole world to be that theme. And it's not picking up the other disc. That's interesting. There it goes. And I don't want to switch to that one either. Okay, so now we have our terrain themes that we're going to need. Let's start by building the edge of the sunken area on this end of the sunken area here, this wall. And let me pull up my screen grab here. Make sure I get this the way I want. All right, so we're going to put this right up on that terrain seam, just like that, and all the way up to the road. Okay, and then we're basically just going to build over in that direction, and we'll do the same thing here. Like that. Okay, and then stack it too high. These aren't billboards, but the way the side of this building piece is structured, it kind of looks a lot like the edge of that sunken area that we saw. So I like that. Okay, then we're going to come down to the terrain blocks, and we're going to use this piece. And I want to put this right up here like that, covering up the plant part of that. And we'll frame in the sunken area here first. We're going to use the Tomorrowland theme for this. All right, we'll put another one over there. Do the same thing on this side. And that's a little too far. Okay. And there we go. Okay, and then we're going to go to the next size larger. We're going to kind of line this up with the other terrain piece that we had here. I want to make sure I'm lined up. We'll raise this back up, bring this back to about here. And for this block, we are going to change the theme to be the San Francisco theme. Okay, so just like that. So there is the sunken area, and again, it's a lot shorter than what's in the movie, but we have to do that to save memory. And, whoops, then I want to bring this down. And we want to put this at the bottom of this area. And I think probably the best way to do this, because we're going to need two pieces to plug a gap. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to change the theme on this to be the Tron theme, on the grid theme. Like that. Okay, so there we've kind of framed in this area. Now, let's put in the tram line. So I'm going to pick this piece up, put it back to get us back to the racetrack pieces. And we're going to put down a piece of track here and style this once again to be the ivory forest floor. And then we're going to use a medium piece, turn it that way, followed by the short turn. And that'll be the circle where the people board the tram. Okay. So now it's kind of starting to take shape a little bit. All right. Let's start putting in next the buildings around the perimeter. And for that, we are going to pick up this piece and put it back without moving it, which gets us back to this part of the drawer. And we could use this one, or we can use this one. And I'm going to use this just to kind of mix things up a little bit. So we want it right up against these buildings and right up against the edge of the terrain there. And we're going to put this 3 high. Okay? And we'll do this on the other side as well. Okay. And then let's come over here and pick this piece up, put it back. And we're going to use, let's see, how far do we want to put this back? I thought I had a screenshot that showed how far I'm putting that back. I think we did it like that. I can't quite tell. All right, well, we'll see here shortly. You know, maybe what I can do, the orientation of this doesn't quite match what I had in my original toy box. That does. That helps me get the spacing right. So looking at how this connects there, this is how I had it. Okay, so this was right here touching, the corner of this building was touching that little circular area there. All right, so that's the right spacing. Just so you can tell. And by the way, that should probably be flipped around so the those little sections there line up. We'll do that over here too. It's just a little detail, but you kind of want it to look right. Okay, so then we got those two buildings. And, all right, I think we already, since we just picked that up, we're right back to that part of the drawer. We're going to put this right up here on the corner. Do that 2 wide. Stack that up like that. And then let's pick up one of these pieces. And we're just adding some variety here of buildings so that it doesn't look so repetitive. You want this to look visually interesting. And then we have that little exit off the circle that went over this direction in that screenshot. So that's kind of what I want to frame in here. I think that's going to be good. All right, then we'll pick this piece up, put it back. And we'll use this building next. And I want to put that right up against there, just like that. And since this is a little bit short over here, let's put this on top. There we go. So now we're kind of framing in the side of that. All right, pick this up, put it back to get back to that part of the drawer next. And we're going to go with this building next. And now I can't build indefinitely off in that direction because I don't have the memory for it. So we're going to put an end here. You really couldn't see in that screenshot where the buildings went, where that corridor went. So we're just going to assume it gets cut off here. And then on this side, we'll put that in there, followed by another one of these. Like that. And then I want to put in a little spacer block here. And we're going to go up to Building Sets Group 5. We're going to go left. I don't think it'll matter which way we go because it's going to take about as long to scroll there. But I'm looking for the Nemansian pieces. In particular, that piece right there. And we're going to build the entrance to the corridors underneath the ship. Okay, so you can see how I measured that. So it's as if you carried this on, but I took those two pieces out that were here. And that's going to serve as the entrance to the escalators that'll go down to the corridors down below. Okay, then we can take our little spacer block out over here. And let's pick this building up again, put that back. Bring this over here, up against that building piece like that. Let's see, next. Let's continue over around this way just to make sure everything ends up where it's got to and it lines up properly. Alright, so let's drop this back there, and once again let's rotate this so it matches my original orientation here. Because I had these blocks oriented a certain way in the original toy box that I played through. Okay, so this, if we slide this forward, that's too far, so I had it in the right spot. So that's going to go like that. And then once again, we'll put a couple of these in here. Trying to figure out what I did. Yeah, so this basically mirrors what we had on the other side, up to a certain point. Okay, and then this time we're going to continue this around in this direction. We're going to put 3 of these in like that. And then back up to buildings. And we'll put this in here like this. Bring that in there like that. That will sit in there that way. And then this will sit in here like that. Okay, so there we've kind of framed in our gallery. Okay, let's back up now to this section above the entrance here to the brain isn't working today. To the entrance to the corridors. And it reset that drawer on me, so I'll just pick this up, put it back. We're going to put this over top of the entrance like that. Okay? Then back down to the terrain drawer. This will sit in here like that. And we're going to style this using the Death Star Imperial Space Station theme. Okay. And then this is going to sit in here just like that. Just like that. These will be the walls along the sides of the escalator, which will sit right in here. And we're going to build that next time. And there's some more buildings and things we're going to put up here, but I think until we put the escalator in, we're going to leave that out. So we'll stop at that point. Okay, a few little details here, just to kind of complete this a bit. Let's see, if we come over here and we grab this sphere building, I want to put this, if I can find the right screenshot here. Yeah. That's the right spot there. And if we go back to building sets group 5, we go over to the left, we have one of these pieces here, this long walkway. I'm going to spin this around and drop this right up here and in there like that. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Like that. And for the moment, I'm going to put another one in here because we're going to want to drop this down about like this for our restaurant balcony. And let me grab a screenshot here. It's going to tell me where to put that. Here we go. Yeah, that's the right orientation. Okay. So I'm going to raise this up just a little bit. We're going to go up to the platforming or the creativity toys, and we're going to use the path tool. Okay. And before we do that, let me make sure I got this positioned right. We're going to want this to sit back in here just like that. Okay, so note about where that's positioned. We go back up now to the creativity toys. This is going to put the path creator right in the center of this thing. Okay, so we're going to go straight down to ground level right here, and we're going to drop this down 1, 2, 3, 4 nudges. Okay, drop our path creator. That is not where I wanted to put that. I hate when it does that. Okay, make sure we do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop it. This time it put it in point mode. Okay, so we'll drop our point, come back down and select the path, go into properties, turn off auto start objects when connected. And then we're going to come up and select our platform here, open the logic menu, do a new path connection, connect that to the path. That drops our little balcony in there. Okay. Now, at this point, we want to start adding in all of the billboards and the details for this area. And this is going to take some time, so I'm going to do that offline, and then I'll come back and show you the end result, because you don't need to see me build all of this. It's just going to take time, and really you just need to know what pieces I used and where I put them. So let me do that, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I am back, and I have added in all of the details. So let me show you the building pieces that I used and where I placed them so that you can copy what I did. And of course, for those of you who are building this along with me, feel free to pause this video as we go so you can take a closer look at what I've done. And actually, before we do that, I want to make one change over here that I noticed after I began adding the details. This needs to come up, and we're going to bring this building up by adding another level to it. That's something I had on the original diagram that I did not do. I thought I was duplicating the one that was on this side, which was only 2 high, but the one over here is 3 high. And we also want to add a little height to that building so that we can now bring this down, and I have room to add this billboard. Okay. All right, so now let me show you what I've done. And let's start over on this end. So I have added the billboards, and there's 2 sets of billboards in Building Sets Group 2. There's these from the San Francisco set, and you can see which ones I've added here and where they are. This one, by the way, when you flip it around, has something different on the other side. And so that's what I used over here. Okay, so I placed a billboard there, I placed one there, and I placed those up above. That took care of that wall. Down inside the sunken area, we added these 3 billboards, and I also put this little storefront in here. This is from the Buildings set, Metroville Center. Okay, along with this one, which is next to it. Or this one's the same one, actually. And this one, which is next to it in the drawer, Metroville Manor. Now this is from the other set of billboards in Building Sets Group 2. And you have all of these, many of which I have used here. So these are the ones that are not from San Francisco. So we've got this one here. And I added this elevator on this side, the city elevator, so that if the player falls down inside this sunken area, they have a way to get out. Okay, and then over here we have added a droid pillar, Droid Factory Pillar 13, and I put another one of these Tomorrowland pieces on top of it, because that's similar to what we see in the movie as they are going along on the tram. And across from that, I added another Droid Factory pillar with another pillar on top of that. Okay. All right, and then on this side of the sunken area, we've added some more of those billboards, some more of the storefronts, the elevator, and a couple of storefronts. And then on our little restaurant balcony, we've added these umbrella tables from Building Sets Group 3. And you can see how I placed those. Okay, up here on this level, I have added in billboards. These are from the first set of billboards. And you can see which ones those are. And you can scroll in that part of Building Sets Group 2 and see how I place these. This is from the San Francisco pieces. I put 2 of those side by side. So you can kind of see how I place those. You can look at the levels in the building here to kind of see the height of where I put those. Some more San Francisco billboards here. And there we go. And then on this side we have some more billboards. I added in this little tower up here from the San Francisco pieces. Some San Francisco billboards here, as well as one down here. And some more up here. And underneath here, we have some more of those storefronts. Same thing over here. Some storefronts. Some more billboards. And I added these into the corner there to fill that empty space. Basically stuck that piece in there oriented like that, and then flipped it around and stuck another one over here. Okay? And then for the middle of the circle, we're using this piece out of Building Sets Group 5. It's the Numancian Wand Holder, with a couple of billboards above it. And then finally, I have a couple of plant clusters I have placed here. These are out of Building Sets Group, or sorry, plants. These are the first 9 pieces out of the plants drawer. And I put 2 of those there and this one here. And we're going to style these to use the Tron theme. Now, if you don't have that power disc that I put down earlier, you can leave these out. You don't really need to have these. I kind of like the look of them. And this was actually something very similar to a section of the ship that we left out, which I'll show you next time. But I put those in here to kind of tie this area in with that one. And so that is it for the gallery area of the Axiom. Next time, I'm going to show you how to build an escalator in the Disney Infinity 3.0 toy box. This is the escalator that leads down into the interior corridors of the Axiom. You won't want to miss that, so be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already, and leave a comment before you go to let me know what you think of the gallery area of my Axiom toy box. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.